Hello. I've been asked to do a video of some mayoral remarks that I made at our first virtual meeting, so I apologize at the outset if I look down from time to time to refer to my notes, but I want to get this message out as clearly as I possibly can. I want to start off today by thanking you, the residents of this beautiful river city, for all you're doing to combat the spread of COVID-19. It's vitally important for you to understand the role that each and every one of you play in stemming this curve. This battle is not being fought just in Brockville. It's being fought across our province, across our country, and of course around the world. As of today, you are aware that there is one confirmed case of COVID-19 inside the catchment area served by our health unit. Specifically, that's Leeds and Grenville and Lanark counties, roughly the size of Prince Edward Island from a geographic perspective. For a long time now, our health unit has been telling us we should be acting and assuming that this disease is in our communities and acting accordingly. We don't have to assume anymore. We knew that this would happen. It was an eventuality that the city leadership team has been preparing for, and we've been planning in different scenarios how to accommodate this spread of this virus. We continue that effort every day, every hour. A couple of the things the city has done, we've put out different press releases, but I'll recap them here for you. More than a week and a half ago, the city shut down areas in our city that would have people congregating. Namely, we closed our arenas, we closed our museum, and we closed our art center. We also supported the closing of our Brockville Public Library and our aquatarium. A week ago, we made the decision, the tough decision, to suspend our less essential city services for a 1-week period of time. We did this long before the province put out their list of essential services and essential businesses that could remain open. We did this for 3 reasons, and I'd like to outline them for you. First, we wanted to express to the community the importance of social distancing and self-quarantine. 2, we wanted to demonstrate that we as a business, and the city is a business, that we were doing our part to flatten the curve. And 3, we wanted to protect our staff and prepare them for what could potentially be a lengthy stint of abnormal city operations. The suspension was done before the province put out their list, as I mentioned. And so now we are in the midst of trying to bring some of those services back online. But I want to be clear, not all buildings will reopen. Not all services will come back online right away. And specifically, Town Hall next week will remain closed to the public as we bring some people back on board. But it's fair to say every one of our services will not be acting as normal. We will continue to act within the guidelines that have been put out by the health organizations and our provincial and federal governments. Last week, we also revised our transit system. We reduced the multiple route system down to one route, which is commonly referred to as the evening route. This would take 1 hour for somebody to ride the entire system. After some review of that, we see that ridership is continuing to decline, but your council believes transit continues to be an essential service. So we've directed for additional buses to be put back on, but again, we're only going to run the one route. But this should allow 2 things. 1, you should be able to cross the entire network in a 30-minute time frame. And 2, it will allow for more safe distancing while riding inside the bus. That's going to protect both our passengers and our staff. I, as your mayor, have not yet declared a state of emergency for the city of Brockville. Together, we've looked at, and when I say together, although this decision falls on me as the head of council, I'm not doing it in isolation. I am including your elected council, and I'm taking the advice of all of the members of our emergency control group in this decision. Together, we believe that the positive advantages of declaring a state of an emergency are outweighed by the negative impacts on the control structure of normal operations. The minute I believe that the democratic process is impacting our ability to react to this crisis, I will invoke a state of emergency. Until that time, and following the lead of the county structure and other municipalities around us, we are going to continue to operate effectively and efficiently as we have been for the first 2 weeks of this crisis. Declaring a state of emergency fundamentally changes the structure of the management of the city and that authorization process. It does not open additional opportunities to access funding from the provincial or federal government. Those opportunities will be made available to all municipalities. The main benefit of declaring a state of emergency is to the message it sends to our community about the seriousness of the situation. I implore you to understand the seriousness of this situation and how seriously the city of Brockville is going to take this pandemic from here until its successful conclusion. I have, however, held a meeting of our emergency control group. We are now going to meet twice weekly, and this brings a number of organizations and agencies outside of the city's direct control to the virtual table. They include the Brockville General Hospital, the Health Unit, St. Lawrence Lodge, social services that are housed at the county's level, the paramedic service that's housed at the county's level, and of course our own Brockville Police, Brockville Fire, and our city department heads. After a successful meeting this morning, we have agreed about the vital importance of good lines of communication, and we have talked about the necessity for each organization to support each other in their efforts. And so we are going to work together as a cohesive team. And in fact, that's been happening all along. Our city manager and her staff, our police chief and his staff, have been coordinating very well with the health unit, with the Brockville General Hospital, with the county's governance structure, and of course St. Lawrence Lodge. So that will continue. The city has already been in close contact with other mayors. I'm in regular contact with the warden and with our surrounding mayors, especially Mayor Brant Burrow, who is our immediate neighbor, to coordinate our efforts and to make sure that we are working together in this pandemic coverage. And I can tell you, all of my colleagues have been very helpful in sharing information of what they're doing, the challenges that they're coming, and we're finding solutions together. The city made immediate changes to our water bill structure. Mainly, we have extended the normal deadline for bills from 21 days to 60 days, and then we eliminated until further notice the one-time late charge that can be applied to water bills. As I said in our news release, we would encourage those people who are able to pay their water bill to certainly do so. But we are mindful of the financial situation that many of our residents are having. Many of you are talking to us about what we can do under property tax bills. The property tax bill and the legislation that surrounds it is a little more complicated than water bills. So we're taking some time to reflect and find out what's appropriate in those areas. Staff will be coming back to council on the first meeting in April with a recommendation on what can be done. But I would point out that the final tax bills will be sent out in August and not due, they'll be sent out in July and not due until August, and that's if the billing cycle remains on schedule. Municipalities have very few revenue sources, and yet we have all of the expenses of any other operation. So we have to monitor these things very carefully to make sure our cash flow continues to allow us to provide all of the necessity services that we're doing. Our Brockville General Hospital has made an urgent call for supplies. On our website, brockville.com, if you click through to the COVID-19 section, there will be a number of places that have made calls for help and assistance, and we're placing them there. The Brockville General Hospital the health unit, obviously, and their personal protective equipment needs take such an important priority here. If you know of anyone who has a source for these materials, contact us. We will help get you into proper contact with people over at those facilities who would gladly receive your donation. These are very challenging times for all of you. Your city staff and your council will continue to be here to ensure this city continues to function and continues to meet your needs. However, this pandemic requires all hands on deck. Your in-person social interactions should stop. You always need to adhere to the social distance guidelines. Shopping should be limited to the basic necessities and not the things that you want to do, and shopping should not be a way of you combating your boredom. If you do need to go out and shop, I ask you that you go either alone or with one other person. We are still seeing groups of people going out to shop together, and this is putting everyone at risk, including those people who are frontline workers keeping these food outlets open. If we lose one of these food outlets to a single case of COVID-19, that outlet will be closed for some period of time, and that drastically reduces our access to food as this continues. I would call at this time on those store owners to step up the screening that's taking place at your front entrances and to do everything that you can do to protect not only the citizens but your employees. And if there's anything the city can do in the way of offering you assistance, please contact my office and I'll make sure that that happens. So in closing today, I would ask you, as you watch those scenes from around the world and you see as people celebrate those frontline workers and honor the commitment that they're making, to keep in mind that that's happening right here in your community as well. What's been asked of us, most of us who are in quarantine and isolation, has been that we stay in and we stay safe. So keep in mind how little that is that we're being asked of. When you take a look at your friends and neighbors who are going out and they enter the unknown every day to make sure they play their role in keeping us safe. So I implore you to do your part and help protect them as they protect us. Together we can beat this, and together we are community strong. Thank you.